now. My buddy Dustin says Beard has made more deals with houses than the average person. What's up, Dustin? Hope you're doing well, man. That's a good one.
Facts.
Facts. So, well, let's
Put the thing on Beard.
Oh yeah.
That way we can stare at it and it doesn't look so weird. Otherwise it'll be like the whole time.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, made a few adjustments. So obviously you guys kind of see that we're trying to play around with a few ideas and trying to figure out, obviously what's going to kind of work best for our situation. And I don't know, viewers still toss around with the idea, but the cool thing is that we did come out with a few things where we're going to be being a little bit more, we're going to push for the YouTube a little bit more, and we're going to have some shorts and some snippets from our podcast and kind of cut out the ones that kind of mean, that give pretty good value. But then if you guys just want to go to sleep at night and get bored watching us, then that, obviously the full video will be there. So
Definitely.
yeah. I guess let's start with Thanksgiving, man. I know we talked about it before you left. Well, what do you do for Thanksgiving?
So for Friendsgiving, we went over to Kenneth's house.
Kenneth Wu-Tang, as we call him.
Wu-Tang. We went over there with a bunch of people, and we had a great time. Good Friendsgiving. And then I went to my buddy Kevin's house for the actual Thanksgiving because his wife just had surgery.
Got you, okay.
So we kind of went over there, helped cook stuff, and hung out there for a little bit.
Nice.
It was a good time, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, we had a nice long drive to Kansas. It was very, very lengty, but it's always good seeing Carmen's side of the family. But no, it was cool. Definitely some good food, man. I introduced them to sausage cheese balls, and they actually have never tried it before. And her sweet grandma, we call her Grandma Betty, dude, she pulled up a whole chair and just started. She scooted up and she just grabbed a handful, put it on her plate, and started munching on them. And she's like, "These are great."
Yes.
And it's actually this is her brother-in-law Jordan.
Okay.
Huddy, which is their son Hudson, says hi. Hi, Huddy. But no, man, we cooked great food, man. Their family's awesome. Super welcoming, great people.
Nice.
Dude, their genes live on forever, dude. Like, her grandparents are up in age, but they look good for their age, man. It's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Then we came back and celebrated with my parents, so it was good. Overall good. I still run out of breath putting on my socks in the morning. I'm so fat, but, at least it's it. Oh, somebody's trying to call me. I need to put it on. Do not disturb. Won't.
Yeah, that would probably. The live is ended. It just cuts it off.
I guess, but I'm gonna put it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know what cuts it. Okay, I'm back on.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that still good? The angle still good?
Right there, stop.
Right there?
Man, that's really crooked. And come down just a little bit.
Come down.
Or like angle down. No, like. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. So it says you're live here, but it doesn't have it live there.
Well, let's see.
Ryan. Sup, Ryan Carvel.
Oh, there we are.
Okay.
What's up, Dan? So that was his dad was in my fraternity, Tom. So yeah, sorry guys. Live feed cut out. Had somebody trying to call me, so I put it on Do Not Disturb. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But let's talk about. Ooh, I messed up that camera up there.
Which you can. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Look at the janky castle. Okay, it's fine.
Don't worry about it. We're this way, right? We'll just keep our heads turned.
But so obviously before Thanksgiving got cut off. Now we had a good Thanksgiving, man, but obviously, again, we're coming up to the end of the year, and you know what? I think we should talk about. Let's chat about budgeting. I think budgeting is going to be a good topic.
There we go.
And
just a mini mic.
Yeah. Well, not just budgeting, but I think budgeting would be a good topic, especially coming up on the holiday, and of course, the potential tax returns. Okay, tax returns coming up to possibly help for down payment and
closing expenses, all that good stuff.
Yep. And Carmen, I hope you're watching this. I really need that music next because I'm just so congested up here. It's not even funny.
Yeah, good job, Carmen.
But no, I think budgeting is a pretty big topic when it comes to a lot of this stuff, man. And the reason why is because I think with budgets now, everything is tight.
Yeah,
everything is tight, and I mean. We've talked about it before where we're at a grocery store. A cart full of groceries now is every bit of $300-$400.
Yeah, all day.
All day. And it's the craziest thing, I remember when I was younger, my parents used to go to the commissary. Yay, no taxes, cool, right? But I remember
it's cheaper.
Yeah, dude. I love my dad, man. I wish he would stop shopping there.
It's really not.
My dad's very routine. He's a very routine.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But
it's not.
But anyways, I was like, okay, when I used to go to the commissary, I remember with me, my sister, my parents. I mean, I remember it was like $200, but that thing was filled to the brim.
Yeah.
That's 4 people, $200, $200.
Yeah.
Now, $200 gets you like a box of cereal, maybe toilet paper, and maybe a pack of gum. like that is the scariest thing to understand and to know that people, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Man. And again, we've stressed before that we understand affordability is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
And I agree that wages aren't necessarily caught up with today's living expenses. And what was really alarming to me is. I remember seeing it on the news. I'm not going to say what news station it was, but it was a news station that they brought on an economist. And this economist stated that mortgage payments rose 50% in the last 3 years due to mortgage rates. And I'm like, okay. The problem with that is this was broadcasted on a major mainstream media, and the problem with that is like people soak that up. And I'm like, the mortgage, like the fear and the mortgage rate itself is not what caused. I mean, it plays a factor into it, but the biggest problem, man, is just honestly the cost of homes, man. But it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with you. You don't set the price. We don't set the price. It's literally just the market itself.
It's the market that dictates it. The sellers. I mean, it's a free market, right? So it's you. They call. You get a hold of your real estate agent, and we look at comparables of what this should be going. Yep. And it's not like we're just out here like, we're just going to throw this up there for $2.2 million. And with that being said, it's 99.9999% of the houses that are sold, at least in our area, are also bought with a loan. So whatever that loan product is, it has to have it's going to have to have an appraisal. Yeah. So I can price it for $2.2 million.
Right.
But if it only appraises for $220, then it only appraises for $220, and your loan is only good for the $220.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the problem though, man. Is a lot of people. The whole talk of the mortgage rates. Obviously, I understand it's the biggest topic. Like most people talk about that because that's what we're trained to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, it's honestly just the cost of housing, man. Like I'm sorry, the notion of like, hey, we're gonna build you, a 2,500 square foot home for 200,000 or 250. That's long gone, man. Like I mean, for Clarksville is gone.
And the best, you're not going to get anywhere close to that.
No, and but
it's not feasible, and that's the thing. It's people don't understand. The young couple we were looking at for the possibly for the boulders.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that was kind of the same conversation with them. Was like, guys, it's not that. It's literally not feasible. Like the builder can't even. It's not like the builder's making a ridiculous profit on these houses,
right?
Or the agents are just rolling in dough every time they close a house,
right?
That's not even realistic. It's just the cost to build it alone.
Yeah.
Whether that's the development side, whether it's the lot price, whether it's the who you're getting your lumber and what do your subs run you.
Right.
Like it's the overall cost of basically just overall cost of business.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's gonna and then so you have to figure that out, and then you also have to make sure you're within an appraised value ish, right? So market value.
Right.
Of the house. So if I build a house, I'm like, yeah, I can build you this house. It's gonna cost me $350,000 to build this house. Right. Just whatever random numbers.
Right.
But if I as the agent for the builder are like, okay, let me just double check these numbers, and I run through and I start looking at some comparables and trying to figure out what exactly this house should sell for.
Right.
And I'm coming up with freaking like, oh well, this house is actually only going to sell for $220 or $250.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, so spending $350 on the house, like that's crazy. Like there's no way it works. Now, if a house is going to appraise for $400 and we can build it for $350, then cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then it makes sense. But 9 times out of 10, it's the opposite.
Right. Well, it kind of goes back to, man, because I had a conversation with a gentleman getting ready to PCS here, and he was talking about buying in Kentucky. And he's like, yeah, it's just more affordable in Kentucky. I was like, yeah, no, absolutely, man. I was like, you need to talk to your agent and figure out, if that's what you want, and whatever, right? It's not my lane. And he was like, oh man, it's crazy, man. These people bought their houses, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, but they're selling it for $150 more than what they bought it for. And I'm like, correct, man. Like that's the appreciation. Like that's the true investment of real estate.
But that's anywhere. Well, not necessarily anywhere, but I mean, yeah.
But and he's like, that's just bananas to me, man. He's like, I'm struggling to find a mortgage for $1,300 to $1,400, and I'm like, and I was like, yeah, man. I was like, but you gotta, you have to understand. Like, this is why we're going to talk about budgeting today, because at the same token, like, if you budget your money right, man, like you can get a house that's decent for you, and it may be a little bit more than your BH, but you look at your return down the road. Is it worth it to you? And so, I was just chatting it up with him, man, and he just told me his car payment, and I'm like, brother, what do you drive? Like, why are you paying so much on a vehicle? And I'm like, dude, like, you understand your vehicle payments literally 75% of what your mortgage, like what you want your mortgage to be. So I'm like, this is why I think budgeting is a good topic, man, because I understand the automotive industry right now is bananas, absolutely insane. I mean, if you think about it, man, like, so okay.
Well, just think. Well, we talked about this a few months back.
Yeah.
What was it, like 5? What did we say? Like 5 or 6 years ago, the average price of the vehicles was somewhere around 40-ish.
Yep.
45, and that was like higher end trucks. Not necessarily diesels, but the higher end trucks.
Yep.
Higher end cars, like the nice stuff. Was right around, let's say 45 to 55, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
We're talking Mustangs. We're talking everything.
Yeah. Now,
Jokers are like 70-something grand now, man.
Maybe used. It's like 90 grand.
That's freaking crazy.
It's like freaking 90 grand.
Who pays that? And then, and it's a joke. If any of you have ever actually talked to me in person, or you've listened to more than one of these freaking episodes, like I always mention the comment of like, the poor dude or dudette that's buying this house is. They're like, well, I got a $1,200 car payment, and everybody's like, man, that's crazy. And I talk to buyers all the time, like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, That's actually not too far off from normal.
Nope.
$900 a month for a car payment is pretty close to average.
It's definitely creeping up there, man. And but that's what I'm kind of going off about budgeting, right? There's always that fine line of people wanting like, oh, I want this new car, just because it just came out, or I want this new SUV, but it's it's 60 grand. Okay, but do you actually physically need it, right? Like,
keyword being need.
Yeah, I'm like, but do you actually need it? Like, and I've said this before, I love my truck, I love it to death.
You need it.
Yes, I need my truck. But in all seriousness, like, if nothing's, I'm not tied to the truck to where I'm like, okay, if I need to sell, if I ever get into a pinch, I sell it and then just go get something extremely cheap or whatever, right? And I think that's where a lot of people that's a big pill for them to swallow.
It's the saddest thing.
It is. And like, to me, like if I could go back in time, man, and get my '02 Silverado back, I would. I loved it to death. It was basic. It was easy to, like, perfect. I mean, now that I'm spoiled with the nicer truck, it's like, but push come to shove, obviously there would be no shame in going back.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think they get in this realm of like, and I guess I wouldn't say false hope. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of false hope, meaning that even though I have this car payment, somehow I'll be able to get into a house one day. And I have to have a lot of heart-to-hearts with a lot of people, and I'm like, guys, unless you get a different job, or unless you get rid of that car payment altogether, or get something cheaper, I was like, that's what's really hindering you from getting what you want.
Yeah.
And, like talking about this gentleman that's one, this PCSing here. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, dude drives a cool freaking Hellcat. But I'm like, you're complaining about houses being expensive.
You're also, you're complaining about a mortgage payment being expensive, but yet you're driving around an appreciative asset that you've dumped.
Yes.
How much into?
And that's when I had that conversation with him.
Appreciating.
And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I don't care how much you paid for this vehicle. I was like, I mean, I do, but I don't. But yeah, I was like, you will never see. You know how many Hellcats you see? Yeah, that's like cool. I was like, I personally think there are vehicles out there that hold their value a little bit better.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not stuff you buy on the lot.
No. So, and that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, everybody kind of, I always joke around like, I know I don't need a diesel. I really don't. I have no use for it. It sounds cool. I think they look cool. I think they sound great. I love the way they drive. But I also look at, okay, even though it's higher maintenance, it costs a little bit more, but you pay it off and you rack up 100K on it, 100K miles. I mean, yeah, dude, you're gonna get good money out of it regardless.
Not what you paid for it.
Not what you paid for it, but I mean, you put 100K miles on a diesel versus 100K on a gasser, you're going to see a significant difference in return. You will. Because, I mean,
Mary, the freeing thing in the world is having 3 cars paid off. Facts.
That was my Christmas present, or my Christmas ask from you guys, is to pay off my truck.
Oh, done. Ready? And you can stop paying today. Not a problem. There may be a little elf coming by later to take it back from you, but no. So I mean, well, with that, I mean, so moving into the house buying thing with budgeting, something that you and I are always telling everybody we meet is you gotta figure out. You gotta have the hard conversation. You gotta figure out what does comfortable look like, and what are you willing to sacrifice to get X.
See,
right?
That, and I think that's going to be the hardest conversation a lot of people have, is what are you willing to sacrifice? Okay, let's just say you don't forego a car payment. Maybe you love that car enough and you don't want to give it up, even though you should. You want to. I mean,
you're going to get this instead of this $400,000 house.
Correct.
And we got to come down here. So I don't mean to cut you off. I don't. It's in the phone somewhere, but there was a post or a picture I had. It was like for every $50,000 in car debt was like $200,000. It was something insane, and I had to read it twice. I was like, what? But if you really look at the math behind it, you're like, yeah, it's pretty freaking close. So again, and it's not saying that you need to just dump all your money in and pay out your car off. I mean, that's not even possible for 99.9% of people, right? Yeah. And for that statement alone, just to be transparent with everybody, I mean, that was my wife that says that, and it took a long time for us to get there. It took a lot of saving to get there. It took a lot of sacrifices to get there.
Yeah. I remember. Trust me, I watched the evolvement. When I first met you, you had this yoked up Tundra. I was like, oh, sweet. And then all of a sudden you came up and you rode up in this Beamer. I was like,
hey, that Beamer was sick.
This little hatchback Beamer. And I was like, okay.
For those of you who haven't known me that long, I had a 1996 hatchback Beamer that I think they only ever made one of because I never saw another hatchback like that.
It was like a little green egg.
It was like to this day, Mary and I were talking about it. I was like, to this day, like I still wish I had that car. But I paid $2,000. I think I put like 15 or 2,000 into it to get it fixed a couple different times.
Yep.
Because a couple different things happened to it. But I sold it for $3,500. Yep. And then I bought a truck. I got a
Frontier.
Little red Nissan Frontier.
Yep.
2-wheel drive, little long bed pickup. Just because I needed more room to put all the open house stuff in.
Yep.
So I bought that for $3,500, and I sold the car for $3,500. It's a wash, right?
Yep.
Equal.
Yep.
Drove that truck around for about a year plus-ish.
I think it's like right at a year.
Right about a year, right?
Yeah.
And then I bought my Tacoma, but I saved, and I paid cash for my Tacoma. Yeah. And then guess what? I sold that truck for $3,500.
Yeah.
To a guy in our company, and he bought it for his kid, and his kid's still driving that truck.
I see it
to this day. He ran into a light pole or something and crushed a light, but we're not going to get into that one. But it is still driving to this day. So I never lost money on those, but because I bought a cheap enough vehicle that I knew that I could at least make what I needed to make happen out of it.
Right.
And then I got one of the vehicles, my Tacoma that I wanted, right? So I got that. And then, but again, I paid cash for it.
Yeah.
So I don't have a car payment, which in the guys, for those of you again who are listening, I don't think you understand the magnitude of what not having car payments and not having debt overall does in your life. If you think about it, right? So the average, and I'm not going to pull out like any random statistic, but let's just say the average household has probably somewhere around $2,000 worth of debt a month. Is that pretty close? You think on your side of the world?
Yeah.
So $2,000 a month. So what do you think you could do with $2,000 a month extra that goes into savings every month?
Right.
That's it's $24,000 a year.
Yeah. Yep.
Like this.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
So now if you're talking about I'm having a hard time coming with down payments, or I'm having a hard time doing this, or I'm having a hard time doing that. That's where a lot of this is going to come from. Yeah. I mean. Yeah.
Well, but, I think one of the things I wanted to really touch about this budgeting thing is these damn installment payments, these pay in four. It's like, guys, I'll be honest with you, I've seen it, and I've seen jokes about it. It's called girl math. And it was like, yes. It was like girl math, and it was like, it's $100, but I don't have to pay $25 today. That's fine with me. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still $100.
What was the other one? What was if it costs $100 but they give me 10, I got $10. And the guy was like, that's not how Yeah. But it's like $10 for in-store credit. They give you $10 a day. No.
Well, so I honestly say that, man, because from the lending side, I see that quite a bit on bank statements, man. I truthfully do, and I'm not saying I'm not saying they're a bad thing necessarily. I'm not saying stay away from them. I'm just saying don't don't go out and blow all this money because you have these small little increment payments. Because guess what? The small little increment payments start adding up quick.
Facts.
And I tell a lot of people, and I had a couple where I counted it, man, and from the lending side, because the underwriters look at this kind of stuff and they're like, what the heck is this? Why is this coming out consistently every month? And we have to get an explanation of what it is.
Well, and you guys, you got to think about it too, right? So if exactly what he's talking about though, let's say you have you have a streaming service account. Right?
Yep.
I'm going to try not to name names, but let's say you have a streaming service account. Okay, so that's, let's say that's, I don't know, $7 a month or $20 a month or whatever
50,
you pay, right?
50, yeah, 50,
$50 a month,
50,
okay?
yep.
So that's 50. And then let's say you have another streaming service account because you only want certain things. And let's say that's only $10 a month. Now we're up to 60.
Yep.
Let's say there's an app that you have that you do whatever on that also costs you monthly, which is a lot of people have different apps that do that. So let's say that's $30 a month.
Yep.
Well, now we're up to 90.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so and you understand like things are growing, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's only $7 a month, or oh, it's only $20 a month. But it's not.
Yeah.
So you know, I try to tell people, think about it like cash. If you had that money in your wallet, and you actually had to subtract that out of your wallet as you go, would you still really want to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, and but that's what I tell a lot of people, man, is like, the installment payments, like I've seen it, and it's okay if you're trying to break down maybe something a little bit larger, right? I've seen it, and it's not the end of the world, but I've also seen a lot of people where it's just consistently where, like, if I was adding it up, dude, I mean, this easily $300-400 that is coming out each month. And I'm like, guys, like that's like I see like bank statements like typically says, hey, here's your deposits for the month, here's your withdrawals, and sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, how do you have this many withdrawals? what is eating up your stuff? And so we're going back to budgeting, guys, and stuff like that. The little installment plans, guys. I would say it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying they're horrible, but just be able to take control. Look, treat it like a credit card. Like, don't go wild with it. Like I've seen people, and it's not the end of the world, but I also see a lot of people who use it and abuse it, and then you just get trapped in it.
Yeah.
Another thing is always upgrading to the newest phone. I think it's okay. It's okay if, like, maybe your company pays for your phone bill or something like that, because there are companies out there, I've seen it, not a problem. Go for it. It's not your money. But it's the people that always have to have the newest iPhone. Like, I know people that will get the newest iPhone every time they come out. And if that's your prerogative, that's fine, as long as it's within your budget. If it's your budget, then that's fine. But I also know a lot of people who, struggle to make ends meet, who complain about their job or not getting paid enough, but then also talking about the iPhone 15. And I'm like, okay, well, it's like a almost $1,400-1,500 phone, $1,600 for whatever it is. Yeah, dude, they are. That phone's gonna last me for a hot minute.
I had to get a new phone recently. I think it's a 12.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I want to say it's around $1,200.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These new phones. I mean, these new phones, dude, they're no joke, man. And I looked at them like, holy.
Yeah, because my speaker went out on the other one. Yeah. Freaking, I literally couldn't hear things. I was like, I was at the point where it's like, no, I need a new phone. And Mary was really like, you're getting it. I was like, I'm not buying a phone. I got AirPods. And she's like, no, you're getting it.
Speaking of that, let's see. Mary Beth said, not to mention handing over to somebody that much money. Cash hurts, so you think more wisely about where the money
100%. Yeah. I said about the wallet, man.
Yeah.
So I guess we could change it a little bit here. Going forward with the purchasing concept. If next year's 2024, right? If the goal is to buy a house.
Yep.
All right. When it comes to the same concept of budgeting.
Okay.
What are good advices, that we can give? What's some good advice that we can kind of throw out there when it comes to how to prepare, what to look for, how to kind of budget that?
Yeah. No, honestly, it's the biggest thing I think a lot of people struggle with: eating out, DoorDash, the convenience factor, right? Where it's like it's much easier to go out and buy food for lunch instead of packing your lunch.
Yeah.
Like wholeheartedly. I mean, I know people who will eat out every single day, which again, if you can afford it and that's in your budget, that's fine. But I just know if you are in that position of where you want to save as much money, honestly, guys, okay, I know it's cliche, but as soon as I graduated college and I went out to Oregon, knowing how hard it was and what I had to do, dude, okay. So when I was in Oregon, a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, 694 square feet, okay, cost me $1,500 and just rents alone, okay. If you want to talk about budgeting and sacrificing, homie, for like, obviously you see I eat good now. I mean, I eat very good, but back then I was like a large, maybe extra large at best. But I'm telling you, you know who my best friend was? 7-Eleven. You know why? Because they had like $1 pizzas and $1 like corn dogs, and then I would eat like ramen. I know it's cliche. Peanut butter sandwiches, tuna sandwiches, eggs.
It's affordable.
It's very affordable, super affordable. I'm not saying you have to live that lifestyle forever, but if that's the temporary lifestyle you need to live, and you're able to save the additional from spending $5-6 a day on lunch, that saves you.
Well, even just as like so.
And by the way, 7-Eleven pizza is actually not bad. So. Shout out 7-Eleven. Yeah.
So I mean, even if you, what I tell people a lot too is you need to figure out what it is that you want, right? So what and want/need. So if we're looking at a house, okay, so let's say that we narrowed it down to you got to at least have, or you want to strive for what your goal is. You want to, we'll say a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's no smaller than, let's say, I don't know, 1,500 square feet.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Kind of put it in a ballpark there.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, so we need to be able to do. We'll say, for example, it costs them $2,000 a month.
Sure.
Just
Okay.
Again, kind of rough numbers.
Yep.
Okay, so we know that to get the house that you want, it's roughly going to cost you somewhere in the ballpark of $2,000 a month.
Okay.
So then I like to have them backwards plan that again and be like, okay, so what can you afford now that's comfortable?
Yeah.
And if they're like, well, we can afford, let's say they can afford $1,800 a month. That's comfortable. Okay, so what can you do to help out to make up that extra?
Yeah.
$200, and maybe that is putting some more money aside against a car, or maybe that is do whatever, right? Mm-hmm. They got to do now so then we can look at that from a serious point of view and a serious conversation of, is it possible to reach that, or do we maybe have to look at going down in a price?
Well, see, and that's kind of the talk I have with a lot of people, man. Like like for renters, especially first time homebuyers, I always ask, hey, how much do you pay in rent, and are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Seriously. Like if you tell me your payment is $800, and I was like, and you said, yeah, it's comfortable, but I wish it was cheaper. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you, and I'll have that heart to heart with you. I was like, I gotta be honest with you. Like any kind of mortgage you're gonna get now is definitely gonna be more likely over $800. Unless you look at manufactured mobile homes, maybe on the.
But even most of those, half of those are going for like $240 and above now, anyways.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
But that's what I tell a lot of people, right? And I'm like, I want you to understand, like your $800 that you pay a month, that might include your utilities. I don't know, but I was like, I want you to understand when I talk to you about your payments. Like, I always reiterate that. I was like, this is just your mortgage. Like, this is not including your utilities. So I was like, if you say $2,000, okay,
but is that?
Yeah, it's like, are you going to be able to budget for like an additional, let's just say $400, $100 for maybe water, $200 for electricity, maybe, I don't know, and then $100 for whatever else.
Yeah.
So I always have to have these conversations with people, man, because I think at the end of the day, just DJ. I expected that. I was in mid-text. Sorry, DJ. I'm going to respond to your text after this. We had to start this. She's asked me about she bought a house here, but then she's looking at maybe moving up north, closer to her family.
That's silly.
Yeah, it's too cold up there, DJ. I hated the drive to the gym this morning at 22 degrees. I hated it.
You'd be all right. You only got to sprint from your truck to inside.
Sprinting. We're sprinting. What is sprinting?
I have seen videos of you and Zach running and sprinting. All
right. But no, like I think a lot of people lack the budgeting aspect, and to be able to afford homeownership. Now again, home ownership's at an all-time low. I understand wages are not caught up to where they need to be to afford a home. Okay.
But also, and I'm not disagreeing with that statement
Right.
at all. But what I will strongly encourage people to kind of look inward on their internal budgets.
Yeah.
Is what's a necessity, what's not a necessity, what is what's needed and what's not.
See, well, and
I can't, dude. I can't. I'm so passionate about it because it's like if you just sacrifice. And what I say by sacrifice is you buckle down, you penny pinch,
repo the truck like me.
repo the truck. You be basically you just be an adult and get your life, get a hold of your life and your finances.
Yeah.
And you will be able to have more freedom of movement when it comes to your decisions.
Yeah.
And what you can do, like and I'm not saying that you don't make enough money or that the cost of living is not high. That's not. I think it's astronomical right now.
Yeah.
But but you can't change that factor. But what you can change is how you're spending your money.
Right. Well, and it's kind of one of those things, man. I tell people, life. Carmen said last time he sprinted, he laid up for weeks. Yes, I look at an 18-wheeler who blew out his tire. And yes, it was bad. My hamstring was done. I thought I straightened it, but I tore that bad boy. That was horrible. Yeah, literally. Dude, I remember I called her, man, because I blew it out. I was like, hey, can you start a bath for me? Why? What's wrong? I couldn't.
My leg fell off.
I was like literally driving my leg straight out my truck because I couldn't bend it. I couldn't put any pressure on it. It was wild. But and I always tell people when it comes to, again, budgeting and money, life happens, man. My situation last year. I'm not gonna put it out there, but it was costly. It cost me a lot. And when you were, last year was a lot better market than obviously this year. Yeah. So I had a little bit more cash flow coming in, and I was able to rebound a little bit more. But this year, wasn't as easy, and I'm still kind of feeling the effects from last year. But it's just one of those things where I tell people, life happens. No matter what you want to tell yourself, no matter what happens, it's life happens. Yeah. And that's why budgeting, and that's why I'm always against people just dumping everything you got into buying a house. Mm-hmm. Seriously. Seriously. But that's what we've been trying to lead up to tell people, hey, if you want to wait till the rates to drop, that's fine. But you're just going to have to dish out more money. So, and kind of again, life happens. Okay, let's say you let's say you got 60 grand to make, but you have to dish out, just say 50 of it, just to get into your house. Because closing costs, going over, asking, whatever. Okay, now you're only left with 10K.
That's heartbreaking.
Okay, what if medical emergency comes up, or what if, again, life happens that you got to drop, money, your transmission goes out, whatever.
That's what I tell people too, that you need to have a number in a bank, if you can, by any means, if you can do it, you need to have some money in a bank, whatever that amount is that is sufficient for you and yours. Mm-hmm. But you need to get to that point, and then count everything else back at zero, and then start building, because then you're almost bulletproof at that point.
But see, and that's why I tell a lot of people this was supposed to be my rebuilding year. I understand I took out a lot of money, but I had to replenish it. Right? That's how my brain works. I put it out, I need to build it back up. Yep. And obviously even next year for me, and this is coming from a loan officer, it's still gonna be a rebuilding year for me. I joke around about let me get a new truck. I seriously joke around about it a lot. More though, it's a very bad addiction, guys. But I will
say, crack, and then there's trucks.
Or trucks and cracks. I think trucks are a lot more addicting than crack. Trust me, the right person.
They're both about the same price.
But no, in all seriousness, there's things that I set for myself where I'm okay, I can vouch whenever life was good, money was just flowing in, cool, right? Dude, my last Denali I had was decked out to the T. Okay, I dropped money on custom headlights, the lift, the retractable steps, like everything.
It's pretty nice.
It's pimp. Okay, not saying my truck now ain't pimp, but
your truck now's better. But,
but you know, I would say, you know, like those were all luxuries, right? It's all things that by far didn't need to happen. But guess what? On this truck, I left it a little bit more clean, a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
A lot more things I want to do to it, but it's a priority thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, not saying that, you know, there's not funds there to do what I want to do. It's just I have to be able to sacrifice things I would want to do in order to get back to where I need to be, where I want to be. Like I need to be, want to be.
Right.
But, you know, it really just goes down to, again, talking about budgeting and, you know, again, the biggest things I see is the eating out, the car payments. Guys, like I understand everybody has needs and all that, but listen, you don't have to go get a 2020 Tahoe. You don't have to get a 2019 Tahoe.
Can't tell me what to do.
Oh, okay. I've got a cardboard box I'll put up here with a for sale sign for $100,000. I know what I have. but like in all seriousness, like, you know, I'll tell you the person I think is probably the most stingy would also be my parents, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing; it's a good thing. My dad, I remember that dude never changed vehicles ever. Dude held on to the trucks forever. I'm the exact opposite. I'm like 2 years and I want something different. That's just me. But you know, my dad before what he had now, he bought his 2007 Sierra, brand new base model, and held that bad boy all the way up to about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
12 years. Base model, dude. Roll down, went manual windows, everything. And I was like, man, you know, like now that I look about it, I was like, man, maybe I should just took that truck. Because obviously it was paid off, and I was like, I really wouldn't have anything. My parents were really good at budgeting. They're very good at budgeting, and I had a good idea what budgeting was. But, you know, to each their own. You know, sometimes people have to go through hard stuff in order to understand what a budget is. No matter how much we preach it, no matter what we say. But, again, it goes off about lifestyle too, man. It really does. You know, I know plenty of people who would rather rent and just have all the nice, flashy things. That's fine. Like, that's it. If that's your life, I'm not saying it's wrong by any stretch of means. Like, if that's what makes you happy, go for it. But the people that, you know, are out there that want to buy, but sometimes maybe they don't understand how to do it or how to be able to afford something in this market. You know, sometimes sometimes there isn't a fix, man. Like I'll be honest, sometimes there's not. Like it's all about your income.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, well, that and
because I agree. Look, dude, you guys could be debt free. Maybe you may have one credit card, maybe a cheap phone bill, whatever. But if you're only, you know, like maybe at $20 an hour, unfortunately, like it's going to be an extreme challenge to find you something within reason without having to maybe put a large down payment to make it feasible, 100%. And not saying it's. And I feel for people like that. I really do. Because it's to me, like, dude, you cranked this back 5 years ago, $20 was actually decent. It was. 5-6 years ago, $20 wasn't that bad. But then as soon as that housing boom happened, the inflation happened, it is a big struggle. It is.
Buyer purchases a home now when the sellers are covering more expenses, but they are taking a higher rate. What can they...
What can they expect the cost to be when rates come down and they can refinance? Okay, so
well, I guess from the physical real estate side, I mean, basically, if the market becomes more heated, if you will, your incentives are gonna go down, if not go away. So being like she's talking about here of covering more expenses. So let's say, for conversation, let's say it's $10,000. The seller's going to give towards a concession or credit towards closing expenses. So $10,000, if you're buying about a $300,000 house, that should pretty much cover everything. I mean, depending on discount points or whatever, however your loan is built. I mean, but for the most part, $10,000 should pretty much cover about everything. Not your down payment, but just for your closing expenses. So again, your mortgage and your title stuff.
Right.
But if those go away, that's an added cost on the buyer. Plus whatever the down payment or plus whatever your discount points are. So and then again, remember, like, you're still paying for your home inspection. You still have that,
the
your
appraisal
is part of that. So to kind of answer Carmen's questions, in a sense, it's hard to say what it's going to look like because we don't know what the rates are going to look like. But if the rates go down and all of a sudden the market booms again, that's like he was saying earlier. That's where that cash in the bank is going to have to come in handy. Because you can't finance. Or you can't get a loan for a loan, if you will. I mean, there are secure loans, yes, that you can try, but then you're going to run into a debt to income thing.
And, but kind of like going like, what she's saying, so the cost to refinance. Honestly, the cost to refinance is not anything crazy. Okay, because $1,200. I mean, like you use the same title company. There's really not. They give you a discount for reusing them. I would say even on the high end, maybe 3,000, and that's if you had.
But that's like high.
And I'm because like most lenders, we don't have we waive origination fees and all that. It's not anything crazy. It's really not. And and I'm going to put something in perspective. Like, so let's just say even hypothetically. You even threw in a discount point this time because maybe you saw a rate, but you wanted to even a lower rate when you refinance. You could still, if the loan to value makes sense and we can roll it into, your loan. Let's just say you got to finance an additional $5,000 for closing costs altogether. Okay. Well, even though you're going to be financing $5,000 over 30 years is nothing. And you're going to lower rate than what you were having. So you're still saving money regardless. So, I mean, the cost to refinance, honestly, is not high at all, really. And it's just a much cheaper option than dealing out, it just... Well, I keep saying that, man. We need to bring a past client on here and really get them, like, when they bought... Ben and Taylor. Ben and Taylor.
Actually, Taylor was on here earlier, I think.
Yeah, was she?
But that's the thing is, so something that we've talked about many times, we talk about with a lot of our clients is...
you pay for the lower rate, dude.
Yes, man. Like there's... I don't care what anybody tells you about, it was great back then, but I don't think you really understand. Because you paid 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever
for that 2%?
For that 2%. Make no mistake. You paid for that.
Yeah, but see, but that just goes to show you as a society, even to today, to today, is people are still fixated on, I got a 2%. But it's never, but they'll never bring up, hey, I had to get my child's college tuition in order to get in this house. Like that's a pretty big factor,
And that's something, guys. That's not going even towards like your equity. That's what you paid over what it appraised.
That's the difference. Yep. Yeah.
So even with that, let's say it takes you. Let's say you paid $40,000 or whatever, $30,000. It's going to take you 2 or 3 years by itself, just for the house to appreciate enough to where it even equals that, and then you're going to have to double that just to be able to make your money out. If you look at it from that route, you can still sell it in 3 years.
Yeah.
But you've basically lost money. You've lost your investment.
Yeah.
Through that whole time.
Yeah. Well, but again, man, that's kind of the thing, man. Is again, no matter what we do, no matter what we say. the rate will always be probably the biggest topic, no matter what we do. It doesn't matter.
Always.
It's seriously like
Always.
like if
it's always what's this going to cost me and what's the rate.
Like
a
a lot of people don't want to look at how much money I'm going to shell out. Like for some reason, like a lot of people just don't look at it like that. They just look at what's my monthly payment going to be. Like I said, you don't like a lot of people buy a vehicle with no money down. You guys don't even bark at it. Like you don't even care. Like
$1,200 a month. Okay, but I don't have to give you anything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And it's like,
yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things where if you can treat a car like that, like why can't you treat an investment like that?
It's a mental thing, man. I think it's a maybe lack of education, or maybe not lack of education. Maybe put it towards more like it's a better way to put it. It's just they've never seen the other side of the coin.
But I mean, what I'm saying is I think no matter how many times you preach that side of the coin.
Oh well, yeah.
But
they have to be in receive mode.
That's true. No, I'm dead serious. Like, if there's anybody out here that's watching this, or you guys know somebody, you want to tag somebody or send them to me, where we'll go through our past clients. Look, if you guys bought when the rates were in the 2s and 3s, please, I want you to come on here because I want you to talk about
what it took.
Like, what it took. How many houses did you get rejected? How many times did you have to go through these houses? What was the experience like? Because today's people don't understand that, man. They don't. If you didn't have to go through that,
you can go shop 20 houses and then go back and look at another 30, and then go back the next day and be like, "Oh, I'm going to look at these 10 again."
Yeah, you can literally see,
and then still get stuff.
Yeah,
what I mean. Yeah. I'm like, Lord, guys.
Dude,
I was like,
I'm telling you, if you, it's back then. It's like even coming soon's massive offers. Even like as soon as
if it hit the MLS.
Oh,
gray or green?
There is. Go ahead. Wave everything. This is a pass or fail inspection. It does not matter. Don't dare ask me for repairs.
I better get at least one kidney.
Oh, you're going to give me $5,000 over asking? That's cute.
That's
Get over
cute.
Here. Yeah, you're going to put over there. But we joke about it, but in all seriousness, I want to bring somebody on here so you guys understand what it's like. And it's not a scare tactic. It's not like I'm trying to scare you to buy now. It's in your cards. Buy, man. Like we're trying to prep you before the storm comes.
100%. And I can't tell every day, man. I'm like, look, you're asking me if I was you, if I would buy now or I'd buy then. My first 100% honest answer is it's what you're comfortable with.
Yep.
Number one.
Yep.
If you are not comfortable for going forward now, then let's just not do it now.
Yep.
But I will tell you the pros and cons.
Yep.
One is it is going to shift back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I don't mean like it may go crazy like that was again before. I don't know if it's going to be like that, and nobody does.
Right.
But I can tell you that as soon as we'll just put it this way, cyclically, right? So statistically, if you will, speaking. Second week of January, things are going to start popping off again.
Oh, yeah.
It happens every year. This time of year, from about mid-November, if you're not under contract on the house by mid-November, it almost kind of nothing really happens that much unless you have to get in a house until usually about the end of the first week or the second week of January.
Yep.
Everything starts popping off. And it stays hot from about second week of January to about the end of April-ish, because everybody then starts flexing their mind and they start looking at summer vacation.
Yep.
Slows down a little bit. They're doing the summer vacation thing, and about 2 to 3 weeks before school starts again, everybody's back in it hot and heavy because they need a new address to put their kids in whatever school because of either the school or the sports or their work or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then it goes hot again during that time, and then it slows down as soon as school starts because everybody's trying to get back into normal everyday routine.
Yep.
And then it heats back up about the mid-September till about the end of October.
Yep.
And I was like, and after that, the middle of November is kind of wishy-washy. It's kind of is what it is. And then it starts all back over.
Oh, yeah, it's a cycle.
That is literally, guys, that is literally the cycle.
Yep. Yep. Well, and listen, and I mean, we'll get ready to wrap it up because one, this iPad is literally dangling on 2%.
2%, sorry.
But, I'll be honest, man, we're here to help you guys, and we're here to be behind you guys 110%. But when the storm comes, And the market, if the market rallies and the market gets absolutely bananas like it used to, like it did, there's not much we're going to be able to do. It's going to be black and white. Do you have the funds? Yes or no? If you don't, unfortunately, you're going to be put back over here because you're going to be spinning your wheels. And unless you just got some good old buddy of yours who's willing to do you a massive solid. Yeah.
I know a guy.
Oh yeah. But like in all seriousness, like we're not going to be able to bail you out. Like right now, there's a lot of things we can do to help. Like, hey, we can negotiate for discount points. We can get you a better payment for what's considered a better payment for this market.
Yeah.
But when the market drops and the market starts, the rates start dropping and feeding frenzy happens, it's almost like a tornado's coming and me and him are holding an umbrella under you and just like, this is all we got. Literally, this is all we got.
You as the buyer, I mean, you get handcuffed.
Yep.
Because it's like he said, it's a great way to put it. It's black and white.
Yep.
You either have it or you don't.
There's no gray. I'm sorry. There's no right now. Plenty of gray.
And right now
we can dab a little bit of black, a little bit of white.
We go through almost every builder in town, and almost every seller right now is willing to negotiate some kind of something
to get the house sold.
To get the house sold. So why would you not take advantage of this?
Free money. Yeah.
And if the rates drop in 6 or 8 months, cool, refinance.
Yep. And at least you still got the house with now draining your bank.
But again, I'm not saying marry the house, date the rate, because I freaking hate that. Because you shouldn't be buying something with the intention of, I can afford it later if I refinance. Yeah. That's a bad idea.
Yep.
If you're comfortable with the payments and you can do everything, awesome. Because it can really only get better from there because you have it locked in.
Yep.
That's the worst it can get.
Yep. Well, next week, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Next week, we're going to have Journey Home Inspection on here. And talk to Journey, let them kind of give you the nightmares maybe they've seen. Can't wait to hear it. They're always a fun group of people to be around. So super excited about that. And guys, if you see that new car come out, the new iPhone, just go buy it. I mean, what do I know? Just go buy it. What do I have to tell you? I'm not your mom or dad, so all right, guys. Catch you guys next week, and we'll have a home inspector on here. So if you guys have any questions, we'll put out a little post. And if you guys have any funky questions about home inspectors or what do they look for, or maybe a crazy story, put it in the comments, and then we'll make sure to ask them. Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Stop this thing. How do you stop it?
Stop.
Oh, I'll tell you. Okay.
I'm going to charge it before. It just died. Perfect. Perfect timing. Charge. Okay.